Hola, hola a todos. Aquí estamos otra vez en lección 5.3. Vamos a hablar de la diferencia entre ser y estar. This lesson we've kind of danced around it. We've talked about ser, we've talked about estar, we've talked about ways they're similar and ways they're the same. So these next couple of pages in Panorama and on this PowerPoint are going to be some specific differences and similarities between ser and estar. And it's tough because in English we have just one verb, the verb to be, that handles all of the uses of ser and all of the uses of estar. But in Spanish, to a native Spanish speaker, they have nothing to do with each other. They are just two separate verbs. So the hang up is really on our side. So different purposes for each of these two verbs. Here's a summary of the uses of ser. And I'm actually going to put up a different PowerPoint that I did when I was here at ISU working on my master's. A couple of semesters ago for a grammar class, I had to make a PowerPoint specifically about the differences of ser and estar. So I'll link that here in Moodle. You can take a look at that, just that helps you. If it doesn't, then ignore it and stick with what you have. But ser is used to denote the nationality and place of origin. We've all seen that. Yo soy de Idaho. You've all said that a bazillion times already. It's used for profession or occupation. You've all said that. Soy estudiante. Él es profesor. That's what that is. Characterizations of people and things. Mis padres son simpáticos. Mi familia es unida. You've all said those things already in your writing. So those are characteristics of people and things. Generalizations. Es fabuloso viajar is one example. It's fabulous to travel. You're not talking about a specific trip. You're talking about a generality. Es difícil estudiar a la 1 de la mañana. It's hard to study at 1 in the morning. That's true. Possession. We've said in Spanish, there's no such thing as an apostrophe S. This is John's pen. We say this is the pen of John. Es la pluma de Juan. So that shows possessive. Es or ser plus de shows possession. Number 6, what something is made of. That's, to me, is the same thing as origin. If I say I am from the United States, that's the same thing as saying this can is of aluminum. And just so you guys ever wonder what I'm drinking, it is, I don't know how to get that on there better. Dr. Pepper Zero, highly recommended. So that's what something is made of. La bicicleta es de metal. Los pasajes son de papel. Esta lata es de aluminio. So it's showing the origin of the things of what something is made. Time and date, number 7, you've all seen that. Hoy es el miércoles. Hoy es el 11 de octubre. So time and date with ser. And then when or where an event takes place. So ser is used for location of events. El partido de fútbol es en el estadio. The football game is in the stadium. It's an event, and that's telling where and when that's taking place. So those are the general uses of ser. Ser expresses origin, possession, and material is made of. Okay, so we just covered those 3 things. Uses of estar. Do not let yourself get in the habit of thinking, and some people teach this, especially in high school, where maybe we're not able to understand such deep concepts, that ser is permanent and estar is temporary. And if you've not heard that, then don't even listen to me. But if you've heard that, that is not accurate. It's just a limited way of looking at it. So uses of estar, location or spatial relations. We learned that a couple weeks ago. We talked about al lado de, enfrente de, detrás de. So when you're relating two things, where the location is in relationship to something else. The examples, el aeropuerto está lejos de la ciudad. Tu habitación está en el tercer piso. You're telling where something is located in a spatial relationship. Número 2, health. ¿Cómo estás? Estoy bien, gracias. Estoy mal. Things that talk about your health, that is your current condition relating to health. Number 3, physical states and conditions. El profesor está ocupado. He's busy. Las ventanas están abiertas. La puerta está cerrada. The door is closed. That tells how it physically is right now. It may be that something different, but right now it physically is closed. The professor is physically occupied. Número 4, emotional states. And this, a lot of people just link that together with health. Marisa está feliz. Estoy enojado. I'm angry. So those are emotional states. And again, those may change. Número 5, certain weather expressions. Talked about that in the same capítulo, chapter, está lloviendo, está nublado, it's raining, or it's cloudy outside. Those are weather expressions because it's explaining something that is right now, but it may change. And then the present progressive tenses, which we just have learned about. Estamos estudiando, Ana está leyendo una novela. And then just a reminder that the present progressive tense is only used for things that are literally happening right now. It's literally in progress. All right, next thing, ser and estar with adjectives. Both ser and estar can be used with adjectives, but the meaning of the word changes. Juan es delgado means just Juan es thin. When you think of Juan, he's a thin person. Juan está más delgado hoy. So Juan es means we're describing his characteristic. That's his state. That's what's typical for Juan. When you say Juan está más delgado hoy, we say, yesterday Juan looked a little bit pudgy. Today, he's looking thinner. So we're saying this is his current condition, but maybe it's not the expected condition, or it's not describing the way he always is. Ana es nerviosa. She's a nervous person. You all know someone like that. You all have an aunt who's just like Ana, a nervous person. But Ana está nerviosa por el examen. So she's not necessarily a nervous person. She is nervous right now as a temporary condition or as her current condition because of something that's happening. So maybe it's an unexpected change, something that will eventually change. When the exam's over, she will be less nervous or not as nervous. When Juan gets the Taco Bell today, he will look less delgado than he did before. So ser can use to describe maybe things that are more characteristic of a person, and estar, their current condition. In the examples before, the statements with ser are general observations about inherent qualities of both Juan and Ana, whereas with estar, there are conditions that are variable. So let's go back. So with ser, Juan es delgado, Ana es nerviosa. Those are things that describe their qualities as people. Juan está más delgado, Ana está nerviosa are things that describe conditions that are variable. So the same adjectives used with two different verbs mean two different things. Notice that with both ser and estar, the adjectives are still going to change for number and they're still going to change for gender. Okay, so for example, the adjective listo. Listo means ready or smart. When it's ser, el chico es listo. He's just a clever boy. He's a smart boy. He's not necessarily doing anything right now that makes us think that, but just in general, he's a clever boy. Versus, el chico está listo. That means ready. We're ready to go, and he's packed and ready to go. So he's ready with estar. He's clever or smart with listo. With mal and malo. The profesora es mala. She's just a bad professor. You've all had, hopefully not right now, a professor who's like that, just a bad professor. But that's with ser. But if we say la profesora está mala, she's just sick. She's down. She's not feeling really well right now. So ser is describing how she is as a person generally, and estar is describing her general condition right now. Aburrido with ser means boring. With estar, it means bored. So big difference there. Jaime es aburrido. He's just one of those guys that doesn't capture anybody's attention. There's no spark there. He's just a boring guy. Jaime está aburrido. He's bored right now. There's nothing going on. He's got nothing to do. He's bored. Verdes. You all know the color verde is green. So las peras son verdes. Son, that's their general characteristic. These pears are green. Versus están verdes. Las peras están verdes means they're not ripe. So they're not fully ripened yet. So even if something is eventually going to be red, for example, when it's not ripe, estar verde. I always think of avocados for this. Avocados are always green, but sometimes there's like that 5-second window between when they're not ripe enough, and then too ripe. El gato with vivo. Vivo with ser means lively. With estar means alive. So el gato es muy vivo. It's a kitten. He's always jumping up and chasing after things. Es muy vivo. El gato está vivo. We weren't sure, but he is actually still alive. So ser describes his quality. His quality is lively. He's active. And with estar is their condition right now in the moment, alive. And then with seguro, with ser means confident. And estar, it means sure, like yo no estoy seguro. Right now in this sentence, I'm not sure where we stand. I'm not sure where this next answer is going to come from. So alguien es seguro means they're a secure, confident person. they are they have that going for them. And with estar, it means they're not sure, like they don't really exactly know. Okay. So let's talk about this. I'm going to have you listen to a recording. The recording is going to tell you about this person, Rosa Beltran, that she met at a party. And then you're going to go back and describe her using ser or estar based on what you hear from the recording. So if you want to go through this, number your papers 1 through 6, and be prepared to make a sentence using the prompts on the left, and then either the verb ser or estar as appropriate. So there's recording. Ay. Well, the recording was not set up correctly. So let's pause this. Okay, I'm going to go through that one more time. The first time the recording did not play, the answer showed first. So listen to the recording, and then you'll number your papers 1 through 6 and write 6 sentences using the cues on the left and the appropriate form of ser or estar according to what you hear.
2. ¿Cómo es? You just met Rosa Beltrán at a party. Describe her to a friend by using ser or estar with the cues you hear. Repeat the correct response after the speaker. Modelo.
Muy amable.
Rosa es muy amable.
1. Muy bonita.
Rosa es muy bonita.
Okay, that's describing how she is.
2. De San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Rosa es de San Juan, Puerto Rico.
3. Estudiando en la Universidad de Nueva York.
Rosa está estudiando en la Universidad de Nueva York.
Okay, 2 options for there using estar. You make the present progressive. With ser, you could just say she's a student.
4. Muy inteligente.
Rosa es muy inteligente.
5. Enamorada de Antonio.
Rosa está enamorada de Antonio.
So that's more of an emotion. That's more of her current condition. She is currently in love with Antonio.
6. La novia de Antonio.
Rosa es la novia de Antonio.
Okay, so in that one, we use ser, even though that may not last very long. You've probably all been in that situation before. But that's describing who she is. That's more of an identity for her. Same as estudiante, same as profesora. Her identity right now is as the novia de Antonio. So that would be a use of ser. So, okay, good job. This whole point here is getting you to understand the differences of ser and estar and be able to use them appropriately. So you'll have some other opportunities to go through that. There's some practices in the text. You'll have some quizzes on it, and we'll have a couple more lessons still here to get you ready for it. So any questions, go back and review and let me know how I can better explain it. And then be looking for the other PowerPoint. I think I'll just link the YouTube video that goes through and just gives some different examples, different explanations, perhaps. And yeah, maybe help you understand it from different ways. So, all right, buena suerte. Good luck, guys.